Chapter 1. Red Sandstorm. The twin suns of Vorran hung low in the sky, casting a crimson haze over the endless dunes. Renn Valdor squinted through the cockpit of his battered freighter, the stellar Wraith, as he guided it toward a makeshift landing pad carved into the rust-colored sand. The ship's engines groaned, a sound that matched the ache in his bones after weeks of drifting through the void. At 32, Renn looked older than he should, lines etched into his angular face from too many sleepless nights. His dark hair streaked with premature gray. He lived for these runs, delivering fuel and supplies to fringe worlds like Vorran, where the pay was good and the questions were few. It was a life that kept him moving, kept him from looking back. The Wraith touched down with a shudder, kicking up clouds of red dust that swirled like blood in the wind. Renn powered down the engines and leaned back in the pilot's seat, running a hand over his stubbled jaw. This job was simple. Drop off a shipment of plasma cells for ApexCore, the corporate giant terraforming half the galaxy, and get out before anyone asked for his ID. He'd been dodging their recruiters ever since he'd walked away from them 6 years ago. After the incident he still couldn't shake. The memory flickered unbidden, screams over the comms. The explosion of a test ship. His hands frozen on the controls as he followed orders instead of his gut. He'd saved himself that day, but not his crew, not his friends. Enough of that, he muttered, shoving the thought aside. He grabbed his utility jacket, worn leather patched with duct tape, and stepped out into the blistering heat. The air smelled of sulfur and dry stone, thick with the static hum of a brewing sandstorm. His boots crunched on the landing pad as he unloaded the plasma cells, stacking them beside the ApexCore beacon blinking faintly in the haze. A quick scan confirmed the delivery was intact. Job done. Time to go. But something stopped him. A sound, faint at first, cutting through the howl of the wind. It wasn't the usual whine of Vorran's dust devils or the distant rumble of ApexCore's drilling rigs. This was different, sharp, rhythmic, like a cry distorted by the atmosphere. Renn tilted his head, listening. It came again. A high-pitched wail that prickled the hairs on his neck. Superficially, it could have been some desert critter, but there was an urgency to it, a pattern that felt deliberate. He glanced back at the Wraith, its matte black hull blending with the shadows of the dunes. The smart move was to climb aboard, punch the coordinates for the next system, and forget he'd heard anything. Vorran was a restricted zone beyond the landing zones. ApexCore had made that clear in their briefing. Stay on the pad, no wandering. But the sound tugged at him, stirring something he'd buried deep, the guilt of walking away when others needed him. He'd done it once. He wouldn't do it again. Damn it, he growled, slinging his pack over his shoulder. He pulled his goggles down over his hazel eyes and climbed into the Wraith's attached rover. A rugged six-wheeler built for rough terrain. The engine sputtered to life, and he steered it toward the source of the noise. A jagged canyon cutting through the desert a few kilometers west. The horizon glowed redder as the suns dipped lower, painting the sand in shades of fire. The rover bounced over dunes and cracked stone, the sound growing louder as he approached the canyon's edge. Renn slowed, cutting the engine to listen. There it was, clearer now, a pulsing wail that echoed off the rock walls. He grabbed his sonic disruptor, a handheld gadget he'd scavenged from a wrecked freighter, and crept to the rim. Below, the canyon opened into a shallow basin, its floor dotted with twisted stone pillars. And in the center, something moved. Renn adjusted his goggles, zooming in. A group of Vorrani, lizard-like natives with shimmering scales and clawed limbs, circled a crude altar. Their guttural chants rose in rhythm with the wind, their tails swaying like metronomes. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, their bodies glistening with a metallic sheen that caught the dying light. Renn had read about them in the pilot's manual, primitive, territorial, and fiercely protective of their sacred sites. ApexCore had warned him to steer clear. But it wasn't the Vorrani that held his attention. Tied to the altar, struggling against rough cords, was a figure that didn't belong. She, he assumed it was a she, had pale, luminescent skin that glowed faintly against the red stone. Her hair was a cascade of silver, whipping in the wind, and her black eyes, large and deep, locked onto the Vorrani with a mix of defiance and fear. She wasn't human, that much was obvious, but she wasn't Vorrani either. Some kind of off-worlder. Caught in a ritual that looked disturbingly like a sacrifice. The Vorrani raised obsidian-tipped spears, their chants peaking as they circled closer. At the base of the altar sat an ancient structure, a dome of cracked metal pulsing with a dull red light. It hummed, low and resonant, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Renn's gut twisted. He'd seen tech like that before. In ApexCore's labs, a reactor. Old and unstable, the kind they'd kill to control. The alien woman let out another cry. Sharper this time, and Renn's hand tightened on the disruptor. His mind raced. Walk away, and he'd be safe. Interfere, and he'd be neck-deep in trouble, maybe dead. The Vorrani outnumbered him 10-1. And he had no backup. No plan beyond the rover and a half-charged weapon. But then he saw it. The way her hands clawed at the ropes. The way her eyes darted. Searching for escape. She was fighting. Even now, she hadn't given up. And neither would he. Renn slid back to the rover. His heart pounding. He couldn't take them head on. Not with spears and numbers against him. But he had something they didn't. Tech. He flipped open the rover's control panel. Fingers flying over the controls. The sonic disruptor could mimic sounds. A trick he'd used to scare off pirates once. If he could fake the roar of a Vorran sandstalker, one of those massive predators he'd seen in the manual, maybe he could scatter the Vorrani long enough to get her out. He took a deep breath, the weight of his choice settling on his shoulders. 6 years ago, he'd frozen. This time, he wouldn't. Hold on, he whispered, though she couldn't hear him. I'm coming. The canyon waited below, a crucible of sand and shadow. Renn hit the ignition, the rover rumbling to life. Whatever happened next, he was in it now, for better or worse. Chapter 2. Fake Roar. Renn Valdor crouched behind the rover, the sonic disruptor humming in his hands like a live wire. The Vorrani were still down there in the canyon, their guttural chants bouncing off the stone walls, spears glinting in the fading light. The alien woman, hell, he didn't even know what to call her, was still tied to that damn altar. Her glowing skin making her a beacon against the red sand. The reactor thing pulsed beside her, a low thrum that set his teeth on edge. He didn't know what it was, but it screamed trouble, ApexCore level trouble. All right, you bastards, he muttered under his breath, fiddling with the disruptor's settings. Let's see how you like this. He'd used the gadget before, mostly to spook smugglers off his tail, but faking a sandstalker's roar? That was a new one. The manual said those things were 6 tons of claws and bad attitude. The kind of predator that'd make a Vorrani shit itself and run. If he could pull this off, maybe he'd get out of here with his ass intact. He dialed up the frequency, syncing it to the rover's external speakers. His fingers hesitated over the trigger. Fuck it, he said, and slammed the button down. A deafening bellow ripped through the canyon. Deep and guttural, like thunder with teeth, the sound bounced off the rocks, amplifying into a nightmare chorus. Renn grinned despite himself. Damn. It sounded real. Down below, the Vorrani froze mid-chant, their scaly heads whipping around. One dropped its spear, claws scrabbling at the sand. Another let out a hiss that could have curdled milk. Then, chaos. They bolted, tails thrashing, scattering toward the canyon's edges like roaches when the lights flicked on. Hell yeah, Renn said, pumping a fist. He didn't waste time gloating. Grabbing his vibroknife from the rover's dash, he slid down the sandy slope, boots skidding on loose rock. The woman was still there, struggling against the ropes, her silver hair plastered to her face with sweat or whatever passed for it on her kind. Up close, she was weirdly beautiful, in an alien way, skin like moonlight, eyes black as the void, and a frame so thin he wondered how she hadn't snapped yet. Hey, hold still, he barked, sawing at the cords with the knife. They were tough, braided from some kind of desert vine, but the blade whined through them. She flinched as he worked, those big eyes locking onto him. Don't freak out, all right? I'm not here to eat you or some shit. She didn't answer, not in words he could hear. Anyway, instead, a sharp buzz hit his ears, like static from a busted radio. He winced, shaking his head. What the hell was that? Her lips moved, but no sound came out, at least. Nothing normal. The buzz hit again, sharper, and this time he caught a flicker of meaning in it. Hurry. He didn't know how he knew. But he did. Yeah, I'm on it, he grumbled, slicing the last rope. She slumped forward, and he caught her before she hit the sand. She was light, too light. Like a bird made of glass. Up you go, he said, hauling her to her feet. Her legs wobbled, but she steadied herself, gripping his arm. That buzz came again, softer now. Thank you. He blinked. Sure, don't mention it. A hiss cut through the air, and Renn's head snapped up. Shit, one of the Vorrani was back, a big bastard with scales like tarnished bronze. Spear raised high. It must have figured out the roar was bullshit. Son of a bitch, Renn snarled, shoving the woman behind him. He dropped the knife and yanked his pistol from its holster, a clunky plasma blaster he hadn't fired in months. Stay back, asshole. The Vorrani charged, claws gouging the sand. Renn fired, a bolt of green light sizzling past its shoulder. The thing dodged, fast, too fast, and lunged. Spear aimed at his chest. Fuck, he yelled, diving aside. The tip grazed his jacket, tearing a gash in the leather. He rolled, came up firing again. This time, the shot hit square in the chest. The Vorrani staggered, scales smoking, then dropped with a guttural croak. Renn scrambled to his feet, panting. Goddamn lizard. He turned to the woman. You good? She nodded, her eyes wide but steady. That buzz hit again. We must leave. No shit, he said, grabbing her wrist. Rovers this way. Move. They hauled ass up the slope, sand sliding under their feet. The wind was picking up, howling through the canyon like a pissed-off ghost. Renn could hear more hisses in the distance. Those scaly fuckers weren't done yet. He shoved her into the rover's passenger seat and jumped behind the wheel. Slamming the ignition, the engine roared to life. And he floored it, tires spitting sand as they peeled out. The woman gripped the dashboard, her glowing skin pulsing faintly with each bump. Renn glanced at her. You got a name, Glowstick? She tilted her head, and that buzz came again. Clearer now. Lirien Vey. Thaloris. He frowned, piecing it together. Lirien, huh? From Thaloris? What the hell's a Thalorian doing playing sacrifice for these freaks? Her lips moved, and the buzz shaped into words in his head. Research. Energy. Danger. She pointed back toward the canyon, where the reactor's red glow still pulsed through the dust. Renn's stomach sank. Energy? You mean that thing down there? Shit, that's no camp stove. What's it do? Power. Life. Death. She buzzed, her black eyes intense. They worship it. ApexCore wants it. Renn's grip tightened on the wheel. ApexCore. Of course those greedy bastards were involved. He'd hauled their crap for years, knew their game. Strip a planet bare. Damn the consequences. But this was next level fucked. Great, he muttered. Just what I needed. More corporate bullshit. He swerved the rover around a rock spire, the canyon fading behind them. The hisses were closer now. Shadows moving in the sand. Hang on, Lirien. These assholes aren't letting us go easy. She buzzed again. Vorrani. Protectors. Renn snorted. Protectors. My ass. They were about to skewer you. He glanced in the rearview. 3 Vorrani were gaining, tails whipping, spears gleaming. Fuck me, he growled, slamming the accelerator. The rover lurched, kicking up a storm of red dust. But the bastards kept coming. Lirien's hand shot to his arm, her touch cold and electric. Faster, she buzzed. I'm trying. Lady, he snapped, weaving through the dunes. The wind screamed louder, sand blasting the windshield. He could barely see shit. But he wasn't stopping, not now. Not after sticking his neck out like this. The rover hit a ridge, launching into the air. Renn whooped despite himself. Hold tight, as they crashed back down. Tires grinding. The Vorrani fell back, swallowed by the dust. But he knew it wasn't over. Not with ApexCore's shadow looming. And whatever the hell that reactor was. He shot Lirien a look. You better be worth this crap. Glowstick. She met his gaze, her buzz soft but firm. I am. Renn shook his head, a grim smile tugging at his lips. Yeah, we'll see about that. The dunes stretched ahead, endless and unforgiving. Whatever he'd stumbled into, there was no turning back now. Chapter 3. Cave beneath the storm. The rover screamed across the dunes. engine whining like a wounded animal as Renn pushed it to its limits. Red sand blasted the windshield, the storm turning the world into a blurry hellscape. He could barely see 10 feet ahead, but he didn't dare slow down, not with those Vorrani bastards still out there. Their hisses cutting through the wind like knives. Lirien clung to the dash, her glowing skin flickering with each jolt, those black eyes scanning the chaos outside. Fucking storm came out of nowhere. Renn growled, wrenching the wheel to dodge a rock spire that loomed up like a goddamn ghost. You sure this energy shit's worth all this? Her buzz hit his head, sharp and clipped. Yes. Vital, he snorted. Vital, my ass. Vital's getting us out of here alive. The rover hit a dip, slamming them forward. Renn cursed as the dashboard lights flared red, engine overheating. Tires shredding. Shit, this thing's toast, he yelled, glancing at Lirien. We need cover, now, or we're screwed. She pointed ahead, her buzz urgent. There. Rock. He squinted through the sand. A dark smudge resolved into a jagged outcrop. A crack in its side just wide enough to squeeze into. Good enough, he muttered, veering toward it. The Vorrani were closing in. He could hear their claws scraping over stone. Even through the storm's roar, Renn floored it, the rover skidding to a stop inches from the rock. Out, out, fucking move, he barked, shoving the door open. Lirien stumbled out, sand whipping her silver hair into a tangle. He grabbed her arm, hauling her toward the crevice as the first spear thunked into the rover's hull. Son of a bitch, he snarled, shoving her inside and diving after her. The cave swallowed them, the storm's howl dulling to a muffled scream. Renn hit the ground hard, rolling to his knees, pistol drawn. He peered out the crack. Shadows darted through the dust. 3, maybe 4 Vorrani, circling like sharks. One hissed, a guttural sound that made his skin crawl. Stay the fuck back, he muttered, firing a warning shot. The plasma bolt lit up the sand, scattering them. For now, he slumped against the wall, chest heaving. Well, that was a shitshow. Lirien sat a few feet away, her glow dimming as she caught her breath. Her buzz came softer this time. Safe. For now. Yeah, for now, ain't exactly comforting. He shot back, holstering the blaster. He wiped sweat or sand, hell if he knew, from his face. Eyeing her. So, glowstick, what's the deal? You said research. Start talkin'. She hesitated, then her buzz filled his head. Slow and deliberate. Lirien Vey. Thalorian. Scientist. Energy core, ancient. Power to heal worlds. She gestured toward the canyon they'd fled. Vorran holds it. ApexCore seeks it. Dangerous. Renn frowned, leaning forward. Heal worlds? That reactor thing? Looked more like a bomb waiting to blow. Her glow pulsed, her eyes narrowing. Potential. Life or death. My work, to control it. She paused, her buzz turning bitter. Thalorian, dying. Polluted. I failed once. Not again. Renn studied her. Her voice, or whatever that buzz was, carried weight. Like she'd been hauling that failure around for years. So you're out here playing savior for your planet? Noble, but fucking risky, he said. And ApexCore? They don't give a shit about healing. They'll gut Vorran for a profit. Yes, she buzzed. Sharp. They must not. She shifted, her skin flaring brighter, casting light across the cave. Renn blinked as it hit the walls, rough stone carved with faded lines. Shapes that looked like drawings. He stood, brushing sand off his jacket. What the hell's this? Lirien rose, moving to the wall. Her fingers traced the etchings, spirals, jagged peaks, and a dome that matched the reactor's shape. Glowing red in the rock. Old, she buzzed. Vorrani history. Before them, others built it. Renn squinted. Others? Like some dead civilization? Yes, she replied. Energy for renewal, not destruction. Her glow dimmed. ApexCore misuses it. Great, he muttered, kicking a pebble across the cave. So we've got a magic battery. A bunch of lizard freaks. And ApexCore's greedy asses. And I'm stuck in the middle of it. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. I should have stayed on the damn ship. Her buzz cut in, soft but firm. You didn't. Renn stopped, glancing at her. Those black eyes held his. Unreadable but steady. Yeah, well, he said, shrugging. Heard you screaming. Couldn't just sit there like a jackass. He dropped onto a rock, pulling a canteen from his pack. Had a crew once. ApexCore gig. Test flight went south. Boom. They're gone. I didn't do shit to stop it. Been running from that ever since. Lirien sat across from him, her glow softening the cave's shadows. Loss. She buzzed. I know it. Thalorian. My fault. Industry I trusted, poisoned it. Her hands clenched. Watched rivers turn black. Couldn't fix it. Renn took a swig from the canteen. Then offered it to her. She shook her head. Sounds like we're both hauling ghosts. He said, voice quieter. Difference is, I don't try fixing the past. Too late for that crap. Not too late. She buzzed. Insistent. Vorran. Thalorian. Chance. Renn snorted. Chance to what? Die out here? But her words stuck, gnawing at him. He'd walked away before, left people to burn. Maybe she was nuts, chasing redemption in a desert. But she wasn't wrong about one thing. He hadn't walked away this time. A faint hum broke the silence, not the storm. Something deeper. Renn frowned. Standing. You hear that? Lirien's glow flared as she pressed a hand to the wall. Core. She buzzed. Signal. She pulled a small device from her tattered tunic. A scanner that flickered with static. Signal? Renn asked, leaning closer. From that reactor? Yes, she replied. Blocked. ApexCore. Her buzz sharpened. Warning. Must send. Thalorian. Others. Need to know. Renn stared at the scanner. Then out at the storm. You're saying we gotta get that out? Past those scaly fucks and ApexCore's goons? Yes. She buzzed. Firm. Shit, he muttered, rubbing his neck. I'm no hero. Lirien. I haul cargo, not save worlds. You saved me, she countered, her glow steady. Renn opened his mouth, then shut it. Yeah, well, that was dumb luck, he grumbled, but a flicker of something, pride, maybe, stirred in his chest. He sighed. All right, glowstick, say we do this. How? Rover's fucked, Storm's a bitch, and we've got no backup. She pointed to the scanner. Tram. She buzzed. ApexCore. Near. Renn raised an eyebrow. Their outpost? You want to waltz into the lion's den? Yes. She replied, unflinching. Message. Stop them. He laughed. Short and rough. You're fucking crazy. But fine. Beats sitting here waiting to die. The storm raged outside, sand clawing at the cave's mouth. Renn checked his pistol, then glanced at Lirien. Her glow lit the etchings. A story of a world hanging on the edge. Let's move when this shit calms down. He said, and Lirien? Don't get me killed, alright? Her buzz hummed, almost warm. I won't. For the first time in years. Renn felt something shift, like maybe, just maybe, he wasn't running anymore. Chapter 4. ApexCore Outpost. The storm died down as fast as it had come, leaving the desert eerily still under a blood-red sky. Renn poked his head out of the cave, squinting at the dunes. No Vorrani in sight, just sand and silence. The rover sat a few yards away, half buried and smoking. A total write-off. Well, fuck me, he muttered, kicking a tire. Guess we're walking. Lirien stepped out behind him, her glow dim but steady. Scanner clutched in her hands. Her buzz hit his head. Outpost. Close. She pointed north, where a faint shimmer broke the horizon. ApexCore's drilling rig. All steel and greed. Renn scratched his jaw, sizing it up. Yeah, close enough to get us killed. You sure about this, glowstick? Yes. She buzzed. Firm. Signal. Stop them. Renn sighed, slinging his pack over his shoulder. Fine. But if we're doing this, we're sneaking in. No hero bullshit. She nodded, and they set off, boots crunching through the sand. The trek was brutal, heat baking his skin. Sand creeping into every damn crack in his gear. Lirien moved like she didn't feel it, her silver hair catching the light. Renn kept an eye out, pistol loose in his hand. So, he said, breaking the quiet, this core thing, heal Thalorian. Sure, what's ApexCore want with it? Money? Power? She buzzed. Control. Energy beyond stars. Renn snorted. Typical. Strip a planet bare. Sell the scraps. Seen it before. He didn't tell her about the test flight, didn't need to. She'd get the picture. They reached the outpost's edge an hour later. Crouching behind a dune, it was a squat fortress of metal and concrete. Floodlights cutting through the dusk. Drones buzzing overhead, crates of plasma cells, his delivery, sat stacked near a loading bay. Renn smirked. Least they got my shit. Small miracles. Lirien's buzz cut in, inside. Quiet, he nodded, leading her toward a gap in the perimeter fence. They slipped through, ducking behind a stack of barrels. The place hummed with activity, workers in ApexCore jumpsuits hauling gear. A drilling tower rumbling in the distance. Renn spotted a comms tower near the center. Its dish pointed skyward. There, he whispered, nodding at it. Your signal's gotta go through that. Problem is, it's crawling with goons. Lirien's scanner beeped softly, and she tapped it. Files. She buzzed. Evidence. Renn peeked at the screen. Data logs. Weapon manifests. Coordinates. What the hell? He muttered. Scrolling. They're arming the Vorrani? Spearing him up to start a war? Yes. She buzzed. Sharp. Justified takeover. Renn's jaw tightened. Fucking snakes. Same old ApexCore. A shadow moved nearby, a guard. Rifle slung over his shoulder. Renn yanked Lirien down, heart pounding. Shit, stay low, he hissed. The guard passed, oblivious, and Renn exhaled. All right, we're hitching a ride. See those crates? He pointed to a hover truck prepping to roll out. Hop in one. Gets us close to the tower. They darted across the yard, slipping into an open crate just as the truck's engine growled to life. Renn pulled the lid shut, plunging them into darkness. The space was tight, his shoulder pressed against hers, her glow lighting up her face. Cozy, he grumbled. Her buzz hummed. Necessary. Yeah, he said, shifting. Just don't zap me or some shit. The truck lurched, rattling them as it rolled toward the tower. Renn cracked the lid, peering out. They stopped near a control room. Guards milling around. End of the line, he whispered, shoving the lid off. They climbed out, ducking behind a generator. The comms tower loomed above, but a familiar voice stopped him cold. Valdor, you slippery bastard, knew you'd show up eventually. Renn froze, turning slow. Cale Drace stood there, arms crossed, a smirk on his sharp face. Tall, lean, dark hair slicked back, still the same smug prick Renn remembered. He wore an ApexCore officer's coat, pristine despite the sand. Cale, Renn said, voice tight, should have figured you'd be running this circus. Cale chuckled, stepping closer. Running it? I built it. ApexCore's golden boy now. What about you? Still hauling trash? Hiding from the past? His eyes flicked to Lirien. And picking up strays. I see. Thalorian. Huh? Dangerous company. Lirien's glow flared, her buzz sharp in Renn's head. Enemy. No shit, he muttered, hand hovering near his pistol. What's your game, Cale? Arming lizards to fuck over this rock? Cale's smirk faded. Game? It's progress. Renn, that core's a goddamn goldmine. Energy to power fleets. Cities. Wars. ApexCore's taking the galaxy by storm. And I'm riding the wave. You could have too, if you hadn't pussied out back then. Renn's fists clenched. Pussied out? I watched good people burn 'cause of your bosses. You just licked their boots. Cale laughed. Cold. And you ran. Same old Renn. Big heart. No spine. Should have stayed gone. Enough. Renn snapped, stepping forward. What's the core do? Huh? Blow this place to hell? Cale's eyes narrowed. It's power. You idiot. Controlled right. It's limitless. Messed up? Yeah, maybe a crater. But that's not my problem. He nodded at Lirien. She's the one poking it. Lirien's buzz cut in. Lies. They misuse it. Renn glared at Cale. She says you're full of shit. And I'm inclined to agree. Cale shrugged. Believe what you want. You're not walking out of here. He snapped his fingers. And guards closed in. Rifles up. Fuck this. Renn growled, grabbing Lirien's arm. Run. He fired at the generator, sparking an explosion that lit up the yard. Guards scattered, shouting. As smoke billowed, they bolted for the control room. Cale's voice barking orders behind them. Renn kicked the door in, shoving Lirien inside. Lock it, he yelled, slamming it shut and jamming a chair under the handle. The room was a mess of consoles and screens. The comms tower's controls blinking. Lirien darted to a terminal, plugging in her scanner. You know what you're doing? Renn asked, panting. Yes, she buzzed, fingers flying. Signal, evidence, Thalorian. Renn kept watch, pistol ready as bangs rattled the door. Hurry the fuck up, glowstick. We're sittin' ducks. A screen flared, data streaming. A signal spiking. Sent. She buzzed, triumphant. But the door buckled, guards breaking through. Renn spun, firing. Shit, shit, shit. He yelled as bolts scorched the walls. Lirien grabbed his arm. Out. She pointed to a vent. He didn't argue, prying it open and shoving her in before crawling after. They tumbled into a duct, the outpost erupting in chaos behind them. Kale's voice echoed. Find them. Now. Renn grinned despite the mess. Pissed him off good, he said, catching his breath. Lirien's buzz hummed. Good. He laughed, rough and low. Yeah, glowstick. Real good. But they weren't out yet. The duct stretched into the dark. And ApexCore wasn't done hunting. Chapter 5. Chase across the sands. The vent spat Renn and Lirien out into a maintenance bay. A tangle of pipes and flickering lights. Renn hit the ground hard, cursing as his knees slammed into metal. Fucking hell, he groaned, rolling to his feet. Lirien landed lighter, her glow pulsing as she scanned the room. Her buzz hit his head. Move. Now. No shit, he snapped, brushing sand off his jacket. Which way? She pointed to a side door, half hidden behind a stack of crates. Renn bolted for it, shoving the crates aside with a grunt. The door creaked open, revealing the open desert, red dunes stretching under a darkening sky. Shouts echoed from the outpost behind them. ApexCore guards spilling out like pissed-off ants. They're on us, he growled, grabbing her arm. We need wheels. Glowstick. Fast. Her eyes darted, spotting a row of hover bikes parked near a fuel depot. There, she buzzed. Renn grinned, rough and wild. Hell yeah, that's more like it. They sprinted across the yard, ducking as a plasma bolt scorched the sand near his boots. Son of a bitch, he yelled, firing back with his pistol. The shot went wide, but it bought them a second. He reached the bikes, yanking the tarp off one. It was sleek, ApexCore branded, humming with a low charge. Hop on, he barked, swinging a leg over. Lirien climbed behind him, her arms locking around his waist, cold and firm, like steel wrapped in silk. He gunned the throttle, and the bike roared to life, kicking up a storm of dust as they peeled out. The desert blurred past, wind howling in his ears. Renn whooped, adrenaline pumping. Eat shit, assholes, he shouted over his shoulder. 3 ApexCore trucks roared out of the outpost, headlights cutting through the dusk, guns blazing, bolts sizzled around them, one grazing the bike's rear fender. Fuck, Renn snarled, swerving hard. Hold tight, Lirien. Her buzz vibrated against his back. Faster. I'm tryin'. Damn it, he shot back, cranking the speed. The bike whined, skimming over dunes like a skipped stone. Her grip tightened, her glow flaring in the mirrors, bright enough to blind anyone tailgating. That's it, glowstick, he muttered. Give him a light show. The trucks gained, their engines growling like beasts. Renn veered toward a cluster of rock spires, weaving through them to shake the bastards off. Come on, you piece of shit, he growled at the bike, dodging a boulder. A bolt slammed into a spire ahead, showering them with shards. Motherfucker, he yelled, banking hard. Lirien's buzz cut in, left. He obeyed without thinking, cutting through a narrow gap. The lead truck wasn't so lucky, crashed into the rock with a satisfying crunch. Ha, one down, Renn said, grinning, but the other 2 kept coming. Relentless. He glanced at the fuel gauge, half empty. Shit, we can't outrun him forever. Lirien's buzz hummed. Hide. Where the hell? He started, then spotted it. A dip in the sand. A shallow crater shadowed by an overhang. Good enough, he muttered, diving for it. The bike skidded into the hole, sand spraying as he killed the engine. They ducked low, the overhang shielding them. The trucks roared past, their lights sweeping the dunes. Renn held his breath, pistol ready. Stay quiet, he whispered. Lirien's glow dimmed to a faint shimmer. Her buzz silent. The rumble faded, and he exhaled. Fucking close. She shifted beside him, her scanner flickering. Safe, she buzzed. For now, he said, holstering the blaster. Those assholes'll circle back. He leaned against the bike, catching his breath. The crater was tight, barely room to move, but it gave him a second to think. You alright, Glowstick? Yes, she buzzed. Softer. You? He shrugged, wincing as his knee throbbed. Been better. That was some wild shit back there. Her glow pulsed, and her buzz carried a hint of warmth. You drive well. Renn chuckled. Rough. Yeah, well, I've had practice running from dickheads like ApexCore. She tilted her head, studying him. Why help? The question caught him off guard. He rubbed his neck, staring at the sand. Dunno. Heard you screamin'. Felt like I owed someone a save. You know, fucked up last time I had the chance. Her buzz hummed. Thaloris. I failed too. He glanced at her. Yeah, you said, rivers turning black and all that. Sounds like a hell of a mess. It was. She buzzed, her glow dimming. Trusted wrong people. Industry. Lost everything. Renn nodded. Slow. I get that. Trusted ApexCore once. Got me a front row seat to a fireball and a lifetime of bad dreams. He smirked. Bitter. We're a pair of screw-ups. Huh? Her buzz softened. Not now. He raised an eyebrow. What? You think this is winning? Yes. She buzzed. Firm. You fought. I sent warning. Chance lives. Renn snorted. Chance. Huh? You're a damn optimist. Glowstick. But her words stuck, stirring something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maybe. Or just stubbornness. A faint rumble broke the quiet. Renn tensed, peering over the crater's edge. One truck was back, circling slow, its lights creeping closer. Shit, he muttered, checking the bike. Fuel was low, engine hot. We're fucked if they spot us. Lirien's buzz cut in, deeper. She pointed to a crack in the crater wall, a narrow tunnel. Barely visible. You serious? He asked. Yes, she buzzed. Hide. Fuck it, he said, grabbing the bike's handlebars. He dragged it toward the crack, shoving it through with a grunt. Get in. Lirien slipped inside, her glow lighting the way. Renn followed, squeezing through as the truck's rumble grew louder. The tunnel was tight, damp, smelling of old stone. He pulled the bike in, collapsing against it as the lights swept past outside. They held still, the tunnel swallowing sound. The truck moved off, and Renn let out a shaky laugh. Goddamn, that was too close. Lirien's buzz hummed. Safe. Yeah, till the next shitstorm, he said, wiping sweat from his brow. Her glow steadied, illuminating the walls, more carvings. Like the cave before, spiraling toward the tunnel's depths. What the hell? Renn muttered, tracing a line with his finger. It led to a dome shape, etched deep. That's your core again, ain't it? Yes, she buzzed, stepping closer. Old path. To it. Renn's stomach dropped. You're saying this goes right to that reactor thing? Maybe. She buzzed. Must see. Fuck me. He groaned. I just wanted to drop off some fuel. Not play treasure hunter. But her glow held steady. Her eyes locked on his. Help. She buzzed. Simple and raw. He sighed. Long and tired. Yeah, alright. Can't leave you hanging now. Can I? Her buzz hummed. Almost a smile. No. The tunnel stretched ahead, dark and unknown. Renn checked his pistol, then nodded at her. Lead on. Glowstick. Let's see where this shit takes us. She turned, her light cutting through the shadows. And he followed, deeper into Vorran's heart. Whether he liked it or not. Chapter 6. Secrets Underground. The tunnel wound deeper, a claustrophobic snake of stone and shadow. Renn dragged the hover bike behind him, its frame scraping the walls with a grating whine. Fucking tight fit, he muttered, sweat dripping down his brow. Lirien led the way, her glow casting a soft halo on the carvings, spirals and jagged lines that seemed to pulse with her light. The air was damp, heavy with the smell of ancient earth, and that low hum from the reactor buzzed in his bones. Tell me this ain't a dead end. Glowstick, Renn said, grunting as he shoved the bike past a narrow bend. Her buzz came back, calm but firm. Not dead. Leads. He snorted. Yeah, leads to what? A goddamn trap? She didn't answer, just kept moving, her silver hair swaying like a beacon. He cursed under his breath but followed, too late to back out now. The tunnel widened after what felt like miles, opening into a cavern big enough to swallow the stellar wraith. Renn dropped the bike, wiping his hands on his jacket. Well, shit, he breathed, taking it in. The walls glittered with veins of red crystal. reflecting Liren's glow into a kaleidoscope of light. At the center, a massive arch loomed, carved stone framing a passage that pulsed with that same red glow from the reactor. The hum was louder here, a heartbeat shaking the ground. Lirien stepped forward, scanner out, close. She buzzed. Core. Renn squinted at the arch. That's our ticket, huh? Looks like it's been here a damn long time. Yes, she buzzed, tracing a carving. Before Vorrani. Builder's gone. He kicked a loose rock, watching it skitter across the floor. Great. Ghost tech. Just what I needed. A rustle broke the quiet, soft, like scales on stone. Renn spun, pistol up. Fuck, we've got company, he hissed. Liren's glow flared, lighting a figure emerging from the shadows. It was Vorrani, tall, hunched, its scales dull with age, eyes milky white. A staff clacked against the ground, topped with a shard of that red crystal. No spear, no aggression, just a slow shuffle toward them. Hold up, Renn said, lowering the gun but keeping it ready. This one's different. Liren's buzz hummed. Elder. Shaman. The Vorrani stopped a few feet away, tilting its head. It hissed, a low, rhythmic sound, and Liren's scanner beeped. She adjusted it, her buzz sharp. Language. Old. Words formed in Renn's head. Rough and broken. Outsiders. Why here? Renn glanced at Lirien. You want to take this glowstick? She stepped forward, her glow steady. Lirien Vey. Thalorian. Seek core. Protect. She buzzed, the scanner translating. The shaman's eyes flickered, its hiss softening. Core sacred. Life of Vorran. You take? Renn cut in, voice gruff. Hell number. We ain't taking shit. ApexCore's the ones fucking with it. The shaman's staff tapped the ground. A slow rhythm. Sky thieves. It hissed. Bring death. You stop? Liren's buzz answered. Yes. Must. Renn rubbed his neck. Yeah, what she said. Look, Gramps. We're not here to screw you over. That thing's dangerous. Blows up. We're all toast. The shaman shuffled closer, its crystal staff glowing faintly. Long ago, makers built. Renew land. Heal. It paused, eyes narrowing. Misuse. And all. Renn's gut twisted. So it's a fixer-upper or a planet killer. Fantastic. Liren's buzz cut in. Control possible. I can. The shaman hissed. Sharp. You? How? Science. She buzzed. Thalorian needs. Vorran lives. Renn shot her a look. Hold on. Glowstick. You wanna flip this thing on? Thought we were shutting it down. Her glow dimmed, her buzz tense. Save both. Possible. The shaman tapped its staff again. Risk. Death if wrong. Renn threw up his hands. No shit, Sherlock. This ain't a fucking science fair. Lirien turned to him, eyes fierce. Chance. She buzzed. Thalorian dies without. Vorran too. Renn paced, boots echoing. Chance? You're betting our asses on a maybe. Yes. She buzzed, unflinching. You ran. I failed. Now we fix. He stopped, her words hitting like a punch. Low blow. He muttered. But she wasn't wrong. He'd bolted from ApexCore's mess. She'd watched her world choke. This was their shot, crazy or not. The shaman watched, silent, then hissed. Sky thieves come. Take core. End us. Renn's jaw tightened. ApexCore's already on it. Huh? Figures. He looked at Lirien. All right, glowstick. Say we do this. Fix it. Not blow it. What's the play? Core. She buzzed. Adjust. Balance. The shaman tapped its staff. Break it. Safe. Fuck me. Renn groaned. You want it on. He wants it smashed. Pick a damn side. Liren's buzz softened. Middle. Protect. Heal. Renn stared at her. Then the shaman. Middle. Huh? Thread the goddamn needle? Yes. She buzzed. He laughed. Rough and tired. You're nuts. Both of you. A distant rumble shook the cavern. Boots. Voices. ApexCore's drones buzzing like wasps. Shit. Renn snapped, spinning toward the arch. They found us. The shaman hissed. Staff raised. Sky thieves. Defile. Liren's glow flared. Core. Now. Renn grabbed the bike. No time to argue. Move. They bolted for the arch. The shaman trailing slow but steady. Drones zipped into the cavern. Red lights scanning. Fucking hell. Renn yelled, firing at one. It sparked and dropped, but more poured in. Guards followed, rifles blazing. Bolts scorched the walls, crystal shards raining down. Renn shoved Lirien through the arch, dragging the bike as the shaman hissed, "Protect sacred." The passage beyond was narrow. The reactor's hum deafening. Renn stumbled, cursing as a bolt grazed his arm. "Son of a bitch," he roared. Firing back, Lirien's buzz screamed in his head. "Run." They pushed deeper, the arch sealing behind them as the shaman slammed its staff down, collapsing the entrance in a cloud of dust. Renn coughed, leaning on the bike. "Goddamn, that was close." Lirien's glow steadied, her buzz ragged. "Safe. For now." The shaman stood by the rubble, eyes glinting. Core ahead. "Shoes." Renn wiped blood from his arm, glaring at Lirien. "Shoes? Huh? You still want to play mad scientist?" Her buzz was quiet, raw. "Yes. Trust me." He stared at her, her glow, her resolve, that damn hope she wouldn't let go of. "Fuck it," he said, slumping against the wall. "I've come this far. What's the plan? Glowstick? Adjust." She buzzed, pointing down the passage. "Balance. Save." The shaman hissed. "Soft. Risk all." Renn smirked, grim. "Yeah, Gramps. I get it. All or nothing." He straightened, checking his pistol. "All right, Lirien, lead the way. But if we blow up, I'm hauntin' your ass." Her buzz hummed, almost a laugh. "Deal." The passage stretched into the dark, the reactor's glow pulsing ahead. ApexCore was coming. Renn could feel it. Whatever happened next, they were in deep shit now. Chapter 7. Final Showdown. The passage spat them out into a chamber that felt like the guts of Vorran itself. Renn stumbled to a stop, jaw dropping as he took it in. The reactor core loomed ahead, a massive dome of cracked metal and glowing red crystal, pulsing like a living thing. Tendrils of energy arced across its surface, lighting up the cavern in flashes of crimson. The air buzzed, thick with static, and the ground trembled under his boots. "Holy fuck," he breathed. "That's one big bastard." Lirien moved past him, scanner out, her glow syncing with the core's rhythm. "Here," she buzzed. "Urgent. Adjust now." The Vorrani shaman trailed behind, staff tapping slow, its milky eyes fixed on the dome. "Sacred," it hissed. "End or heal." Renn shot it a look. "Yeah, Gramps. We get it. No pressure or anything." He wiped sweat from his brow. "The heat in here like a damn oven." The passage behind them was sealed, but he knew ApexCore wouldn't stop. Kale wouldn't stop. "All right, Glowstick," he said, voice rough. "You're the brains. What's the move?" "Balance." She buzzed, stepping toward a console jutting from the core's base. "Stabilize. Redirect." Her fingers flew over the controls, ancient symbols flaring under her touch. Renn paced, pistol in hand. "Redirect? To where?" "Thalorian." She buzzed. "Vorran. Both live." He snorted. "Tall fucking order. You sure this won't blow us to shit?" "Trust." She buzzed. "Sharp." He grumbled. "Yeah, famous last words." But he didn't argue. She dragged him this far, might as well see it through. A grinding roar echoed from the passage, stone cracking, drones whining. "Fuck." Renn snapped, spinning. "They're through." The shaman hissed, staff raised. As the rubble exploded inward, ApexCore guards stormed in, rifles blazing, led by Kale Drace himself. His coat was dusted with sand, but that smirk still cut like a blade. "Valdor," he shouted over the chaos. "You're a persistent little shit. I'll give you that." Renn fired, bolts scorching the ground near Kale's feet. "Eat it, asshole," he yelled, ducking as return fire lit up the chamber. Lirien's buzz screamed, "Work. Cover." "Yeah, no shit," he barked, diving behind a crystal outcrop. He popped up, nailing a guard in the chest. Guy dropped like a sack. The shaman swung its staff, a pulse of red energy knocking another back. "Nice one, Gramps," Renn called, grinning despite the mess. Kale advanced, a sleek pistol in hand, dodging shots like he'd trained for this. "You're out of your league, Renn," he taunted, firing. A bolt grazed Renn's shoulder, searing through his jacket. "Son of a bitch," he roared, clutching the wound. Blood soaked his sleeve, but he kept shooting. "League? I'm just tryin' to not die." "You prick." Lirien worked fast, her glow flaring as the console hummed louder. The core's pulses quickened, energy crackling wild. Close. She buzzed. Renn glanced at her. Close ain't good enough. Hurry the fuck up. Kale laughed. Closing in. She's wasting her time. Valdor. That core's mine. Limitless power. And you're just the dirt under my boot. Fuck you. Renn snarled. Lunging from cover, he tackled Kale, slamming him into the sand. They grappled, fists flying. Renn's knuckles cracked against Kale's jaw. Kale's elbow smashing Renn's ribs. You ran. Kale spat, pinning Renn's arm. Leftist to burn. Now you play hero? Renn headbutted him, blood spraying. I'm done running. Asshole, he growled, breaking free. Kale rolled back, firing. The shot hit Renn's leg, dropping him with a yell. God damn it, he cursed. Crawling for cover, Kale stood, wiping blood from his lip. Pathetic, he sneered, aiming at Renn's head. Always were. Before he could pull the trigger, a sonic blast hit Lirien. Her buzz a shriek that rattled the chamber. Kale staggered, clutching his ears. What the fuck? Renn seized the chance, lunging up and slamming his pistol into Kale's temple. Kale crumpled, out cold. Stay down, you bastard. Renn panted, limping back to Lirien. Her glow was blinding now. The console sparking. Done. She buzzed, slamming a final key. The core roared, energy surging, then stabilizing. Its red glow softening to a steady pulse. The chamber shook, cracks splitting the walls. Shit, we gotta go, Renn yelled, grabbing her arm. The shaman hissed. End comes. It planted its staff, a barrier of light flaring as guards fired. Move, Gramps, Renn barked, but the old lizard stayed. Eyes calm. Protect, it hissed, the barrier holding. Renn didn't wait, he hauled Lirien toward a side tunnel. The bike abandoned. Fucking legs toast, he grunted, leaning on her. Her buzz was frantic. Out. The core's hum peaked, a deep groan shaking the cavern. Guards shouted, retreating as rubble fell. Kale stirred, coughing, but the ceiling buckled, pinning him under stone. Valdor, he rasped, voice fading as dust swallowed him. They stumbled into the tunnel, the chamber collapsing behind them. Renn's leg screamed, blood trailing, but he kept moving, Lirien's glow guiding the way. God damn it, glowstick, he panted. You better be right about this. Yes, she buzzed, steady, live. The tunnel sloped up, the air cooling as they climbed. The hum faded, replaced by a distant wind. Renn's vision blurred, blood loss. Adrenaline crash, but he pushed on. Her arm around him. Not dyin' here, he muttered. Not after that shit. They broke out into the open, collapsing onto sand under a purple-streaked sky. The ground steadied, the core's rumble gone. Renn rolled onto his back, chest heaving. Fuck me, he gasped. We did it? Lirien's glow dimmed, her buzz soft. Yes. Balanced. She pointed skyward, a faint streak. Her signal reaching Thalorian. He laughed, rough and ragged. You're a crazy bitch, glowstick. But damn, you pulled it off. Her buzz hummed, warm. You too. He grinned, pain forgotten for a second. Yeah, guess I'm not total shit. The outpost burned in the distance. ApexCore's rigs crumbling. The shaman was gone, buried. Probably, but the Vorrani would live. Renn closed his eyes, the sand cool against his skin. What now? He muttered. Lirien's buzz answered, rest. Then build. He snorted. Build. Huh? You're stuck with me now. You know. Good. She buzzed, her hand brushing his. For once, Renn didn't argue. The fight was over, at least this one. Chapter 8. Dawn over Vorran. The first light of Vorran's twin suns crept over the dunes, painting the sand in shades of gold and purple. Renn lay sprawled on his back, chest still heaving, the cool desert air a damn blessing after the hell they'd crawled out of. His leg throbbed like a bastard, blood crusted around the gash, but he was alive. Beside him, Lirien sat cross-legged, her glow faded to a soft shimmer. Silver hair tangled with sand. The outpost smoldered in the distance, a pile of twisted metal and broken dreams. ApexCore's reign here was done. Fuck me, Renn muttered, propping himself on his elbows. We actually pulled that shit off. Lirien's buzz hummed, quiet but steady. Yes. Core stable. She pointed to the sky, where that faint streak of her signal still lingered. A lifeline to Thalorian. He smirked. Rough. Yeah, Glowstick. You're a goddamn genius. Don't let it go to your head. Her black eyes flicked to him. A hint of something, amusement. Maybe, in her buzz. Too late. Renn laughed, a raw, honest sound that surprised him. Smartass, he said, shaking his head. He dug into his pack, pulling out a battered medkit. Gimme a sec to patch this crap up. Ain't dying now after all that. He ripped open a bandage, cursing as he wrapped his leg. The pain bit, but it was nothing compared to the ache of running from ApexCore all those years. Lirien watched, her glow pulsing slow. Rest, she buzzed. Yeah, he grumbled, tying it off. Bossy as hell, ain't you? Saved you, she buzzed back. He grinned. Fair point. A soft hiss broke the quiet, not hostile. Just there. Renn tensed, hand on his pistol, but Lirien's buzz stopped him. Vorrani. He looked up. Shapes moved across the dunes, dozens of them. Scales glinting in the dawn. Not warriors, though. Smaller ones. Elders. Kids maybe. Led by a figure with a crystal-tipped staff. Not the shaman from the cave. This one was younger. Its eyes sharp. Guess they noticed the fireworks. Renn muttered, holstering the gun. The Vorrani stopped a few yards off. The leader stepping forward. It hissed, a rhythmic chant, and Lirien's scanner beeped. Gratitude, she buzzed, translating. Core lives, land lives. The leader tapped its staff. A single red pulse flaring. Then bowed, slow, deliberate. Renn raised an eyebrow. They're thanking us? Shit, that's a first. Yes. Lirien buzzed. Saved them. The Vorrani turned, leaving a small pile of red crystals at their feet, offerings. Maybe, before fading back into the dunes. Renn picked one up, rolling it in his fingers. Huh, keepsakes. Ain't that sweet? Lirien's buzz hummed, peace. He snorted. Yeah, for now, till some other asshole tries to dig this place up. He tucked the crystal in his pocket, glancing at her. So, what's next? Glowstick, you got your signal out. Thalorian knows. You headin' home? Her glow dimmed, her buzz quiet. No ship. Renn blinked, then laughed. Rough. Oh, right, my ride's fucked too. Stellar wraiths probably scrapped by now. He leaned back, staring at the sky. Guess we're stuck here, huh? For now, she buzzed. Help comes. Help? He asked, sitting up. Thalorian, she buzzed. Signal sent. They come. Renn nodded. Slow. Good. Your people need that core juice. Right? Fix your rivers and all that shit? Yes. She buzzed, her glow steadying. And Vorran heals. He smirked. 2 birds. 1 crazy-ass stone. Not bad. The silence stretched, comfortable for once. Renn watched the suns climb. The desert waking up around them. Little critters skittering. A breeze kicking up sand. You know, he said, voice low. I was done with all this, saving crap. Sticking my neck out. Thought I'd just haul cargo till I croaked. Lirien's buzz cut in. Change. Yeah, he admitted, rubbing his neck. Heard you screamin' down there. And, fuck, I couldn't walk away. Not again. Her glow pulsed. Warm. Good. He shot her a look. Don't get mushy on me. Glowstick. Too late. She buzzed, echoing his earlier jab. He chuckled. Touché. She shifted closer, her hand brushing his arm. Cold. Electric. But not bad. You? She buzzed. Now? Renn shrugged, staring at the horizon. Dunno. Ain't got a ship, but I ain't running no more. Maybe stick around. See what's what. Here? She buzzed. He grinned. Rough. Yeah, why not? Vorran's a shithole, but it's growing on me. Plus, someone's gotta keep you out of trouble. Her buzz hummed, almost a laugh. Deal. Renn leaned back, the sand cradling him. Deal. Huh? You're stuck with me then. Glowstick. Good. She buzzed. Simple and sure. He didn't argue, didn't want to. For the first time in years. He felt, still, not running, not hiding, just here. A distant hum broke the quiet, not ApexCore. Softer, higher. Renn squinted skyward. A sleek ship pierced the clouds, its hull shimmering like Lirien's skin. Thalorian, she buzzed, standing. Your ride's here, Renn said, pushing up with a grunt. Guess this is it. No, she buzzed, turning to him. Stay. Help. He raised an eyebrow. What, me? I'm no scientist. Glowstick. No, she buzzed. You fight. You care. Renn scratched his jaw, caught off guard. Care? Huh? Shit. You're making me sound soft. Truth. She buzzed, her glow steady. He looked at the ship, then back at her, at Vorran, at the life he'd stumbled into. Fuck it, he said, grinning. Why not? Beats hauling scrap for peanuts. Her buzz hummed. Bright. Good. The ship touched down, sand swirling, and Thalorian figures emerged, tall, glowing, like her. They'd talk science, rebuild, whatever. Renn didn't care. He'd figure his part out. All right, glowstick, he said, limping toward the ship with her. Let's build something, but if it blows up, I'm blaming you. Her buzz laughed. Fair. And for once, Renn didn't mind the sound of a future ahead. The suns rose higher, Vorran stretching out before them, a new dawn. Rough and real,